Meanwhile, in the Premier League, Chelsea moving up to third in the table with a 3-2 victory away against Crystal Palace. Meanwhile, Leicester dropped to fourth after a 1-1 draw against Arsenal. Well, let's start, shall we, with that game as we welcome in Don, Frank and Craig. Craig, thoroughly entertaining match. Arsenal had their chances in the first half. Leicester rallying in the end for the draw.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal looked good for 45 minutes. That being said, Leicester did have the odd chance or two. But I think one of the things that's happened with Arsenal is, you know, obviously players getting fit in game time. Kieran Tierney been one who was a big signing for them down that left-hand side. I think Guendouzi giving it big licks at Brighton the other week's actually done Arteta a favour because he's just been able to biff him off and get Ceballos in there alongside Xhaka. And of course, Lacazette and Aubameyang in the side with Aubameyang on the left and young Saka's form. So for 45 minutes, it was pretty good. But, you know, we got a response from Leicester and, you know, it's a 90-minute plus game and Arsenal couldn't quite see it out. But it was a decent performance from both sides.
Of course, a big moment in the game. Nketiah coming on, and before even touching the ball, he would get sent off. VAR intervening, the referee going to the monitor. Frank, for you, was it a red card?
Yes, because it's even if he doesn't touch the player, and he did touch the player. It's definitely a very dangerous movement that he did. Of course, he tried to get the ball, but he missed the ball and got almost the knee of the players. He could have broken his knee. So it's definitely a red card and for me a straight one. But they had to see the VAR, the ref, but. That was an obvious decision for me.
A number of your colleagues on Twitter, Don, saying no red card. It was harsh, no intent.
No, I mean, listen, there was no intent, but it was a dangerous tackle because when you come on as a substitute, you're trying to win the ball, and he was trying to make an impression, and he was slightly late. He was very high. I'm surprised VAR looked at it that many times. The referee went straight across to the monitor, only had to see it once and done the right thing. It was a clear red card. Yeah,
that was the weird thing, and as much as we applaud finally the referee going into the monitor, Craig, it took 10 hours for VAR to tell him to do it. He's just gone straight away.
Well, it'd take you longer than 10 hours to give a roll call of all Don's colleagues these days, you know, such as his breadth of global...
Me and Frank have been here for 15 minutes ready to go, and you've rocked up late.
I did. Well, to be fair, I got down the stairs as quick as I could. I totally agree, Dan. Look, it's almost taken, 90% of the season for the referees in the Premier League anyway. Chris Kavanagh, kudos, to go to the monitor. The decision was made by the match official, which is what most of us have been calling out for months and months and months. VAR is there to aid and abet the referee, but the decision should be made by him. And the fact he looked at, I think, 2 replays in about 5 seconds and made a decision, I think is the key point. But you're absolutely right. Why he wasn't told to go over there after a couple of replays is baffling. You could clearly see there was no malice from young Nketiah, but it was reckless, it was dangerous, it was high, it was late. It ticked all the boxes to say to Chris Kavanagh, look, Chris, after 20, 30 seconds, get yourself over to the monitor. So I think that's the way forward, but it's taken him way too long to do it. Unfortunately for the young man, but how anybody can look at it and say, oh, no, that's not a red card because he didn't mean it. Listen, none of us in the main mean to foul players when we're going for a ball, but most of us do. Just because you didn't mean it is not in the laws of the game.
And, of course, the Vardy goal was reviewed as well. Question marks as to whether or not Perez had touched it on the way through to the striker. It wasn't clear. Seemed to be the right decision, Frank.
Yeah, it seems to me, yeah, because we see Vardy offside, and I'm not sure. Well, I think Perez touched the ball, but even when Perez touches the ball, I don't think Vardy is offside. So for me, it's a good decision from the referees, and it's a goal, and it's a fair draw for that goal, for that game.
I think that's the key point there, Dan. I see a lot of people were missing, and Frank just touched on it. Is that everybody was looking at did Perez touch the ball or not, and I understand that, but I totally agree with Frank. The first thing that I thought about once Perez touches the ball, Vardy I think is level or behind the ball, so thus he would be onside. So I think they've looked at that, and even if the touch was minute from Perez, there's a fair chance that Vardy at that point was in an onside position.
I don't think I've ever heard you use the word thus before. Don, looking at this overall, though, Leicester get the point, but they do fall to fourth, and Manchester United in action tomorrow. Wolves as well, breathing down their neck.
Yeah, worrying times since the restart for Brendan Rodgers. They've not been in good form. And listen, they might not got anything from the game unless Arsenal went down to 10 men. So I think all said and done, he'll take a point. He'll try and take some sort of momentum, a little bit of confidence, because when they did have 11v10, they actually knocked the ball around really, really slickly, and their passing was quite precise. And he's got to move on. He's got to have a strong finish to the season, because you're right, all the teams in and around them are all picking up wins and looking really strong.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.